All right, what's up guys? Just jumping in here at the beginning real quick. If you're new here and you like this kind of stuff, subscribe. Do a lot of 55, 6, and 7 content on here, or at least as much as I can anyway. Anyway, this video we're going to be getting into assembling the rear end and getting this old rear end out of here, as you can tell. So just wanted to jump in and say that. Remember to subscribe, comment, like, all the fun stuff. So anyway, you can see us struggle and be hot and sweaty getting this rear end out. So yeah, let's get on with it. Hope you enjoy it. All right, what's up guys? Getting back started on the 55. And as we left off in the previous video on the rear end, we've gotten everything done. Dad got the backing plates all painted. So I went ahead and got the first little layer of silicone put on the mating surface. So we're ready for the gasket. And we pulled this out. And I know we went over this in a previous video, but for those who don't know, it's a 1964 410 posi unit, which is the 31 spline. And this is the 31 spline axles, because this is a 64 rear end as well, but we did just slip that in there to be sure they worked. It was all good to go. And I'm gonna pop the gasket out. We're gonna set it on and get ready to drop this third member on. Dad forgot the nuts for the third member, so as you can tell there in the time lapse, got the thing all seated, and luckily it's heavy enough to seat everything. So he'll come back with the nuts, and what I'm going to do is tighten these things down. I'll probably go ahead and slide the axles in, and then let this thing sit for about 24 hours, come out tomorrow evening, give them a final torque. That's usually what's good for that gasket material. I didn't put a lot of it on, as you can tell. It's just put some on my finger and I just kind of lightly smear it. It always really helps these things seal really good. I don't put no big bead on there where it's squishing out. Just a nice thin layer with the gasket with using your finger. And I've always had really good luck with that. So once he brings those nuts back, we'll tighten it down, and we brought some pipe tape for this thing to seal up the drain plug, so I'll probably go ahead and do that really quick, and that's about it. And then hopefully after you see us putting these nuts on, we'll slide the axles in and go from there. Okay, here we're getting all our gaskets put on to get everything prepped to put the axles in. And of course we did the usual deal where we put one thing in first before the other. So we had to take a couple things back apart. But anyway, overall this went pretty smooth. Got both our gaskets in place on each side of the backing plate for the axle. Got the axle retainers and stuff in, and the axles were seated properly. And the bearings had the right amount of stick out from the tubes themselves. So as you can see there, we're kind of refumbling with that side. But anyway, everything turned out great, so we're pretty stoked with it and pretty much ready to move on after this point. And then on that axle there's the portion where we were reseating that side. And then this other side goes pretty smooth because we obviously learned from the first one. So yeah, not too bad. Everything went together real nice. It's some nice parts from Fab Crafts. So if you're ever doing any of those, look them up. Definitely the best in the business for these rear ends. Okay, as you just saw in the time lapse, we went ahead and got both axles in, retainer plates, backing plates, axles, all that fancy stuff. So gaskets that we may or may not forgot one time. Anyway, it's all together. He's just putting a final little hand tighten deal on there because it's got the silicone. So we want to go back, like I said, in 24 hours and retorque those right. Same with these. But anyway, it's all together. And the reason the housing isn't painted because we still have to weld the leaf spring perches on. So basically we are ready to get the car up on jack stands, get the old rear end out of it, and get this thing set under with the new leaf springs and bushings, figure out our pinion angle, and then weld those perches on, and then we'll be able to paint the rear end itself. Okay, and we're getting back over in the garage here, and we got, well, here's one of them. I don't know where I set the other, but there's one of the new leaf springs, and got the rear end, the drive shaft moved over here. So we're gonna get the car brought forward and positioned up on jack stands so we can get the old rear end and leaf springs pulled out from underneath it. So that way we can start getting things mocked up to put that Pontiac rear underneath it. I'm sweating my balls off here. The reason videos haven't been coming out is I had a week, I was just sick, so just kind of getting back into the swing of things, and as you can tell, I'm not doing so hot, but anyway, we got the thing jacked up. As you can tell, it's kind of a struggle getting it as high as we wanted it and getting it level and all that fancy stuff, but anyway, here's the old leaf springs and the old original rear end. So get you under here to see a little bit. So as of right now, we're going to start looking at everything, assessing what we need to do, and we'll start loosening up these U-bolts so we can in turn get this old rear end out of here. So we'll set you up when we go to do that so you can see us pull this thing out of here. We got the thing out of there, so got the new springs just laying under there for now. Got everything assessed of what we need. I think all he needs to order now is the shackles and bushings, and that should be good. And then we got the rear end ready and sitting over here. I think for now there's a list of stuff I'm going to do underneath the car while this thing's up in the air. We saw a little dodgy part of the frame over there that needs some repair. So I'll cut that out, repair it. A couple spots on these inner fender wells up at the top, I'm just gonna patch just a little bit, and then we're gonna seam seal all those. And if you remember the spare tire well cover that I made in the beginning of some of the early videos, I'm gonna seam seal that, paint it, and all that fancy stuff. So this will probably be a little bit of a shorter video. The next one, you'll see me doing all these repairs before we start doing all the stuff to get the rear end underneath it. So that's pretty much going to do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video on this thing.